So before starting, I would like to ask a question. How many of you in this room would like to be happy in life? All right, there's good. And how many of you would like to be happy at work? Nice. Who like both? There you go. I mean, the ones that actually only raise one hand, you can talk to me after this session. The ones that didn't raise any hand, there's a lot of work to do. So let's think for a moment. I mean, because I'm talking about happiness is a choice, because it is. And I choose to be happy. And I want you to choose to be happy. And it's a choice that needs to take action, as we will see at the end of some of the day. But let's think for a moment, what's our goal in life? Some of you might be growing a company, being healthier. For me, it would be maybe traveling around the world, sailing. But it doesn't matter what goal you have in life. If you ask why, and research shows that, if you ask why enough times, it always ends up in the same stuff. It's all about happiness. We all want to be happy, and it makes sense. And my goal in life is to be happy, and the way I'm going to achieve that, and I found that through a little story I'm going to tell you about, it's to make people happy. It makes me happy. So let me share a little story, why I feel so passionate about happiness. And Steve Jobs would say that looking backwards, it all makes sense. But I didn't know that was going to happen. So my mom actually told me 4 years ago when I told her, Mom, I'm going to do this delivering happiness stuff. It's like, Carlos, it makes sense. When you were 4 or 5 years old, you told me, Mom, why is it easier to make somebody cry than making somebody laugh? Because I want to make people laugh. Well, obviously at that time, my mom was like, okay, how cutie, and I go home, you know. So, okay, so time passed, and at the age of 11 years old, I did a field trip, school field trip. And it was amazing. There were 60 students, and at the end of the field trip, they gave a diploma to each one of the students. And, there was personalized, the cutest, the most organized, the dumbest, and the one they gave to me, I was surprised. I didn't know that, I remember that. My mom kept this. It was to the happiest. Wow, I mean, it really revealed something. So it was making sense where I was going. So I came up and I went to the States, New Jersey. People from the United States, when I say New Jersey, they're like, Jersey, what were you doing in Jersey? So anyway, I didn't choose that. I went to New Jersey and I wanted to be a comedian. Again, it made sense. So I wanted to be a comedian. I did a couple plays and I had fun. They had fun, but I realized that was not long-term happiness. So I kept going, came back to Spain, finished university. As I was saying before, I wish I had been in here because this is beautiful. But I know, I went to a campus in Barcelona, IQS. So I went to university, and at the age when I finished, I did one of my greatest adventures, which was sailing across the Atlantic Ocean. And wow, that changed my life. Because over there, thinking, talking to me, talking to my dad, talking to the stars, 28 days, yeah, you go a little bit crazy. It was amazing because I realized I wanted to make people happy. And I knew exactly how I was going to do it. Obviously, that's not the way I'm doing it now. But I said, and I'm happy I saw Jerome there because I went to India. I lived in India for a year. I wanted to build an NGO to help kids, be happier. Obviously, during a year after coming back from the sailing trip, I found a HR consulting job, and in the weekends, I was helping in an NGO, obviously to know the business inside, to be able to create it. Wow, that was one of my aha moments, because those kids, as you saw in the pictures, they were happier than I expected, and they were happier than most of the people back home. So I was like, okay, maybe this is not what happiness means. So then I thought, okay, we sleep 8 hours a day. Well, I sleep less, but we sleep 8 hours a day. What is the most time we spend in our lives? Which is at work. So, okay, I found my purpose again, and I said, let's build, something that makes people happy at work. Perfect. So I went back and I collaborated with a company, an HR company, and I realized that I was making people better at work, but not happier. And that for me didn't make that much sense, because I believed that if you are happier at work, you'll be better. And that's as simple as that. People will get there. So again, as I was saying, this is just a flow of events, right? And one lead to another. No. They all led to where I am today. I found Tony. I told him, Tony, thank you for building this company for me, because this is my purpose in life, and that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I want to make people happy at work. So that's why I'm so passionate about happiness. So, and why is it happiness? Why happiness? Again, all of you guys, well, almost all of you guys, thank God I don't see everybody with the light, but all of you guys said happiness. Because we are hardwired to seek happiness. But research shows also that we're super bad at predicting long-term happiness. Super bad. So, again, this is, we talk about fallacies, right? And why are we super bad? Because everybody thinks, okay, see, if I'm very busy, I have a lot of work, I'll eventually be rich, right? And if I'm busy, I'm rich, I'll eventually be happy. Well, how many busy people we know that they're not rich? And how many rich people we know that they're not happy? So, I mean, is this, are we sure about this? Because people say it this way, I mean, if you seek success, if you are successful, you'll be happy. But let's turn it the other way around. It's if you seek happiness and if you're happy, you're most likely to be successful. So, everybody's like, okay, I understand that, Carlos, and that's pretty simple. And yeah, exactly, happiness is really simple up here. But when it comes to do, that's why I say happiness is a choice, but once you choose it, you have to do it. When you do, here is not that easy. So, what does science has to tell us all about this? Because at the end of the day, we always try to approach, and we are collaborating with the Happiness Institute of Coca-Cola and other organizations, because it's very, very, very important to know where we come from and what's over there already, and people have already studied. And what science has to tell us. And I'm going to share a couple frameworks, of course, and I love this first one. There was this study, this first one, this is beautiful, right? There's this study of this lady that was in hospitals and did a huge research. And to people that they were about to die. And that's sad, but the research that she got was amazingly powerful. And the people were always saying, the 5 top regrets she found amongst all this research was that people, and I'm going to just focus on the first one, I wish I had the courage to be true to myself and not what others expected from me. The question for you right now to think about is, what does it mean to be true to myself? What do I have to do to be true to myself? Just do it. The other framework I would like to talk about is the 4 elements, and you'll find this in positive psychology, you'll find this in Tony's book, and many other places, but these 4 elements are very, very, very important. First of all is perceived control. We talk about perceived control, and it's not about controlling more and more people around me. It's about controlling myself, controlling my feelings, my emotions, the way I react to people. Controlling my destiny, my decisions. That's what control means. The other part of the framework that makes you happy is perceived progress. And we're not talking about the kind of progress of having a bigger status every time. Now I'm a CEO. What's left? You're putting a barrier in your life. It's not about having a bigger house every time. It's about being a better person, a better professional. And that's what progress is. I remember I was with my coach, because I also have a coach, and I was saying, Ron, I mean, I still have so much to learn about happiness. There's so much I need to learn. It's like, well, I hope that doesn't ever end, because the day you stop learning is the day you start dying. So always perceive progress. Then the next part, and I would like to drop a challenge to you guys, the next part is connectedness. And connectedness is not about how many Facebook friends you have. Connectedness is about the number, but also the depth of those relationships. And the challenge I want to drop to you is, in Spain, it's amazing. You go abroad, we are Latins, right? And eventually, we connect a lot and we are very social. But you go to networking, it's amazing. You go to Sweden, United States, and everybody talks to everybody. But you go to Spain, and after the session, everybody's in the corner with their coffee and their croissant. They're not talking to people, they're afraid. So I'm going to challenge you with 2 little things. First of all, I would like, during the day-to-day, you approach 5 people you don't know, you've never met before, and talk to them. And he's like, what do I say? I'm going to give you a hint, right, really quick. Ask, for example, what's something weird that makes you happy? And that's just an icebreaker. And the other challenge I would like to drop is, okay, and that's the bigger one. Go to someone that you've never met before, and they're not those 5 people, and without saying a word, give them a hug. And not that type of hug. So that's connectedness. And that's how you create it. And the other part, we'll see it in the other framework, it's vision and meaning. We call it also higher purpose, being part of something greater than ourselves. At the end of the day, what do you leave with that? Legacy. So what's the other framework? We talk about the 3 types of happiness, and they're all perfect. They're all amazing. It's just a matter of quality and time. We talk about pleasure, which is linked to things. And they're good, but let me ask you a question, and basically parents, when you give to your kids in Christmas a little present, how long does it last for that present to be in the drawer? So yes, it's nice, that kid was happy in Christmas, but that's just, we call it a rock star pleasure because they're the only ones that can hold it for long. We don't know how they hold it, but that's another story. So then the next part is passion. And passion, also people call it flow or engagement. And actually the concept of flow was created by this guy, Mihail, not even going to try the last name, but actually they said that he came out of the concept of flow because he was trying to say his name 10 times in a row really fast. So that's how he came out with it. And that's linked to projects, but it has a beginning and an end. And then we go to back to the last part, and we call it higher purpose. And it's being part of something greater. And think about the Wright brothers, Einstein, Edison, or think in the movie Braveheart. It doesn't matter. What drove all these people to achieve what they achieved? It wasn't the paycheck. It was something bigger, to leave something behind. So, okay, Carlos, science, great, your story, great, but give us something practical here. So, okay, how can I be happy at home and at work? 2 very quick examples. First of all, there's a difference, big difference between intention and impact. We measure ourselves by our intentions, but we measure others by their impact. That's great. So think about every time you do something for somebody else, not only think about your intentions, but the impact you're having on others. And when somebody does something to you, don't think only in the impact, but also think in the intention. Impact is important, but I'm telling you, if you do this, in here, things are going to change. Something also that it's very important is the difference between forget and forgive. And I love this, I saw that in the other days, it's amazing. Being angry at someone, and think about this, being angry at someone is like drinking poison and expecting the other one to die. And doesn't it make sense, this? I mean, and research shows that 47% of people that has cancer, they also had negative and unsolved emotions. So think about how many negative and unsolved emotions you are having right now. So I'm not saying to forget, but I'm saying to forgive. And don't forgive them, forgive them for you, for your happiness. So what about at work? Well, at work, basically it's really super simple. There's 3 ingredients to make happy work. And those 3 ingredients, and you could say it this way, or the model that we are trying to inspire companies, which is culture, based on values and behaviors. Because if I say to you guys, trustworthy, how trustworthy you are, rate in a scale from 1 to 10. Most of people answer 9 or 10. If we ask the people around you, probably that number is going to go down. But if we define behaviors for your company, for your people, for your group of people, that's measurable. So let's talk about culture. Let's also implement the science of happiness in organizations. Let's make people happy. Because again, if they're happy, they'll be better. And if they're better, what happens to profits? And also, let's define a higher purpose. What is your company's higher purpose? What is your company's value giving back to the community? Think about all this. That's obviously another way of saying, and that's the model we're trying to inspire companies to achieve. Because at the end of the day, if you have all this, obviously profits boost. Okay, Carlos, that's never gonna work in my company, ever. Well, hold that thought. There's a lot of companies that are doing it. Not as many as we wanted, but there's a lot of companies that are doing it. And I don't have time for more, but let's talk about Zappos. Implementing happiness is a business model. They went in 12 years from 0 to $2 billion in revenue. Does happiness work? Yes, it does. Tony always says this, and I love the quote because, get the culture right and everything falls into place. But culture right, the right culture is the key word in the sentence. What is the right culture for your company? You will see a lot of data. It's not only Zappos, it's not only Google, Facebook, and all those, McCain, and there's a lot, Virgin Airlines. I love Richard Branson's quote when he says, the way you treat your employees is the way your employees are going to treat your customers. So again, there's a lot of data. I mean, happiness drives profits. There's no doubt about it. I don't have a doubt, and I hope after this session you don't have a doubt either. But sales, productivity, employee turnover goes down. How much money does it cost to fire somebody, to hire somebody new, and to train that person? I mean, again, why is people leaving? And that's why another big tip is to focus on managers. Because most of you guys probably know that people join companies for the culture, for the company, for the product, but they leave for their managers. And also, let's not only focus about the negative, let's focus about the positive. They are the leaders that can amplify your culture. They have the power to be able to spread the happiness within the company. So, we heard from all over the world, etc., etc. And at the end of the day, as you guys see, everybody wants happiness. So 2 companies were born out of this. One was Delivering Happiness Movement, which basically the purpose is to nudge the world to a happy place, and Delivering Happiness at Work, which we're trying to help companies to implement happiness as a business model. So again, Carlos, I'm afraid I'll fail. Well, let me tell you guys, I was afraid too, but I chose to be happy. Because every master was once not a disciple, but a disaster. So, to finish, 2 quick thoughts I would like to, leave you in your head. Think about this. Every time you're talking to someone, every time, you're either affecting people or infecting people. So, if you choose to inspire and be inspired in your life, you'll probably have a lot of control, progress, connectedness, and at some point, that purpose. We work for inspiring the 3 C's, companies, communities, and cities. I would love to through different initiatives, but at the end of the day, why? Why? For a happier world. So, again, it's delivering happiness, the name. It's not receiving happiness. So, please live here, live in the giving. Because happiness, at the end of the day, like Buddha used to say, never decreases by being shared. So, please, I would like you to join us. Not join the company, but join us as a purpose. Deliver happiness to the people around you, because we need each other. We need you. So let's nudge the world to a happier place. Thank you.